What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswaves. Hopefully everyone had a great holiday weekend, took some time to see the family, eat some good food, and play some video games. Today, though, we have a few things to go over, which does include Nintendo and the Switch's struggles over the weekend when it came to that eShop. We're also going to be talking about a surprising game potentially getting teased online, and we're also going to be going over a pretty good after Christmas sale, especially for someone who just got a new system. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton, and if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with Mega Man ZX, specifically though, Mega Man ZX3. This is a game that never happened, but apparently it was in development. We can see this over on Rockman's Corner, who did notice that Mega Man ZX3 was being talked about during a Christmas live stream at Inti Creates. They had some of the developers and even the president at Inti Creates talking about this, where they said he was working on the ZX3 player character and then brought what he had to Mega Man 9's player character. It was in the middle of ZX3's development. This talking about like the mechanics behind like you're controlling your character, how they move, feel, all that. The project's codename was ZXC. Unfortunately, though, it was canceled by Capcom. They go on to say that the people who canceled it at Capcom aren't at Capcom anymore, so I guess there's really no one to yell at about this. But the thing with Mega Man ZX, I feel like it's a forgettable series in the overall grand scheme of things with the Mega Man franchise. They were good games mechanically. I did enjoy them. I just don't know if a lot of people got behind that series, and Capcom probably noticed it. Like, when Mega Man Zero ZX Collection was announced, most people were excited for 0, 1 through 4. I didn't see a lot of people who were like, yes, Mega Man ZX Advent. So I guess it's not too surprising since Capcom is looking at the sales for them to say, you know what, maybe it's not necessarily worth doing this, but it still would have been cool to see because the ZX games were good overall. It's just Capcom decided not worth it, and I guess they canceled it. Also, we've been talking for a little while now about the situation unfolding with the PlayStation 5 in Japan, specifically the low sales numbers, the low stock, and Sony seemingly uninterested in continuing to provide more stock for that region. Well, it does look like, as we had talked about before, developers and publishers in Japan would notice this, and Falcom released an entire briefing to their investors going over some of their plans for 2022. They have this page here that shows some of the bullet points, which mostly explains they will be pursuing new IP creations, but also the in-house development for the Switch. They had mentioned this a little bit, but having it here with investors is a pretty good double down, I would say, on their part. But then you go to the next slide, and it's pretty telling what they're getting across here. There was a slide and a graph that was pulled from a research institution showing the projected software sales for the Switch being around 22 million in Japan. That's that large orange bar there for 2022. And then you can see the blue and green bar. Those are the PS5 and the PlayStation 4. So if you are a Japanese publisher or developer, you're probably going to start gravitating more towards the Switch because that's the way that the market is trending. And you might maybe sit down and say, okay, hey, you know what, we'll develop a game specifically for the Switch, and then it'll go to other platforms later. Falcom has been kind of slow to get behind this idea, but with there not being a PSP or a Vita, which is where they were, releasing and making a good bit of their money, well, they got to look around and say, well, I guess it's the Switch because Sony is having a hard time just getting PS5s out there, but especially to Japan. So keep an eye on Falcom as we go along here with the in-house Switch development and them obviously seeing where the market is trending. You're probably going to see a lot more of their games going forward debut even on the Switch. Oh, and for all of you LEGO fans out there, it does look like that Sonic LEGO set leaked early. This had been mentioned before by the LEGO company that they would be doing some sort of Sonic set, and we can see this here, posted up by Jordan on Twitter, saying there's your Sonic LEGO set leaked. Appears to be, what's that, Green Hill Zone, Sonic on the left there, and then you have Robotnik kind of floating around. It should be pretty fun for LEGO and Sonic fans. And there was another set that was it caught me off guard a little bit. It's a Horizon Zero Dawn set that was leaked by German retailer Wagner. It's a Horizon Zero Dawn tall neck set. It could be kind of fun, but the Sonic set there looks great. I'm sure there are a lot of Sonic and LEGO fans who are very excited to see this. I guess maybe they're going to kick off 2022 with this set as we're still waiting for the release date, pricing, basically everything. So exciting stuff there. I'm not the biggest fan of sitting down and putting together these massive Lego sets, but it's pretty cool to see these video game crossovers with Legos because there's a shared audience there. I think it's pretty obvious with what we've seen with like the Nintendo Mario and the NES and all the other things they've done there. So I would say keep them coming. They're a lot of fun to see happen. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Nintendo, the Switch, and the struggles over the weekend, specifically on Christmas Day, as of course, a lot of people are opening presents and getting brand new systems. I ran a poll that we'll look at later on in the show, just seeing what new system you may have gotten from Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft, and it looks like Nintendo is holding up pretty well despite being years into the generation for that Switch. Unfortunately, that means that spike in traffic caused a lot of issues that day when it came to signing in and creating your account. Now, we can see this posted up on Kotaku, where they say Nintendo Switch eShop sees big server issues Christmas morning. There appeared to be an error code that people were pointing to, and I saw this popping up on Twitter a lot. 2811-7429. Anytime you would try to log in, whether it's to buy a game, redeem a gift card, download DLC, you'd get that error code and it would just kind of kick you out. Or if you went to their website, which I did that day just to check out different games, it would kind of like, it would try to load for a while, or some of those images may have like that broken page icon, and that it was a struggle just to navigate even in a browser. This shouldn't surprise anyone because Nintendo tried to warn people, and we even went over it here, that there was going to be large volume spikes on Christmas Day. We know Nintendo's weakest aspect is their online, so just assume that the eShop was on fire pretty much all of the 25th. Now, the good news is it appears to have been resolved since then, so you should be able to, of course, sign in, download DLC, redeem your gift cards, all of that. If you haven't tried at this time, go ahead, take a shot. It should work well. But this is just a good way to remember, okay, you know what, next year, if maybe there is a new model, maybe you're buying a Switch for someone, you're gifting it to them, set it up even if you can beforehand. I know it's weird because I did think about this after going over that. It's like, well, maybe the person wants to set it up for the first time themselves. I mean, that was a fun experience. It sounds weird, I know, but like if you've ever gotten a system for the first time on Christmas and it has a setup process, it's that cool feeling that you get it out of the box and it still feels magical, especially if you're a younger kid and you want to go through and put your name in and all of this and connect and sure, download the system firmware, but you run into that situation where it's not unusable, but if you got all digital games or gift cards, kind of unusable then for the most part. Hey, all digital future coming up, exciting stuff. But hey, you know, get some physical games as well because the Switch still benefits from the idea that it's mostly on that cartridge, depending on the game itself. But it also reminded me of a Christmas story from back in the day where I got a 64, exciting stuff, get it out of the box and realize my TV doesn't have the AV ports. None of the TVs in the house had them. My VCR didn't even have it. So all of Christmas Day, couldn't play that really cool new system, the big present. I had to wait till the next day to go and get one of those RF adapters so I can screw it into the cable jack on the back. But I did get to know things like Pokemon Snap and Lego Racers really well because I basically just sat there and read the manual all day while occasionally looking at that 64. Next up, let's talk about Blue Box and Abandoned for some reason. Now, I saw this pop up on Twitter and I thought it was sort of funny because I felt like a lot of people forgot about this thing, but it seems like people are still really following this along just to see what happens. I think that's the biggest part here, is most of us understand it's not Kojima, but what if, right? That's kind of what it is now. But we can see this over on Twitter. It's posted up by Blue Box Game Studios saying the tech demo will be available inside the Real-Time Experience app. A notification will be sent once the patch is ready. So the Real-Time app experience, the idea is you download a portion of the game, a video file even, as they did before, and it'll play natively rather than go through streaming and buffering and just crushed picture quality. And it produced good results for like the 10-second clip that went up, right? That's the biggest thing there, is it's not been a good rollout for them. And my question now is not, is this Kojima? Not, is this Silent Hill? Do they actually have a game? That's the thing that I am the most curious about. Or did everything catch on like out of left field for them to where they're like, oh, we don't even have a game ready? Because the initial video that they showed, that gameplay, the trailer, like was mostly Unreal Engine assets that they kind of put together. And I've seen studios do this to where they don't really have anything ready, but they can kind of piece something together to get attention of a bigger publisher. I mean, if that's where we're heading right now, it's going to be a long time. Like, they're going to be doing these 10, 20-second clips in this real-time app for years, potentially. So I don't think it's Silent Hill. I don't think it's Kojima. You could put that away. But let's just see if they even have a game for Abandon, because that's not even the full name of it. That's like a code name. So who knows what we're dealing with here, but I feel like a lot of people are going to stay on this roller coaster ride to see what Blue Box delivers. Next up, let's talk about a potential tease for what to me would be a very surprising game. We're going to go over why that is exactly, but let's take a look here on Twitter. This was posted up by Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, saying Jolly Ollies to all. And it's a fun little piece of artwork there to put out there to celebrate Christmas and all of this, right? The holidays. But people were starting to notice something, an Easter egg potentially. And I want to bring this up here to see if anyone has any idea around what this is. But we could see Jarl saying, again with the teasing, they also teased it in their Halloween art couple months back. Looks like we have a little 12, less than 312. Okay, so 1 and 2. I mean, that makes sense for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which is part of the remake that was done. But then 312. Well, obviously, a lot of people are looking at this saying, well, is that a tease for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3? Because they also did it in a vertical orientation for Halloween. So it's not like some people are saying, oh, maybe that's 12 and then a heart and then 12. Well, I mean, it was very clear in the Halloween artwork that they did. And the fact that this string has shown up in now 2 different pieces of art that they've put out there, kind of hidden, does make you wonder about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. And the reason why that would be surprising is because Vicarious Visions is working on Diablo. In fact, they apparently were getting absorbed, at least that's what it sounded like, in the Blizzard. And that was frustrating because Activision's going through all this stuff, right? The legals, like it's really frustrating to see what's happening here with Vicarious Visions, but obviously there's a lot more in the news and headlines for Activision and the culture going on there, but Vicarious Visions is legitimately talented. Like, they've been around forever, and to see Activision take them and potentially just merge them in with Blizzard, which has their own issues there. And the fact that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, I mean, that should happen, right? Like, a lot of people looked at 1 and 2 and said, wow, Vicarious Visions really nailed it with the feel, the look. I would like to see them go a bit further. 3, 4, maybe Underground if they can work out some of the licensing and likenesses there. That's probably a whole thing there. Or maybe a brand new game. Like, a lot of possibilities, but to hear that they just took them and said, okay, you're going to work to get Diablo out. Sure, they'll be able to do that, right? Which Diablo 2 remake or whatever came out, and then I'm sure they're on a Diablo 4, and the fact that they're becoming part of Blizzard just tells me they probably wouldn't be working on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, but what if it was an expansion to 1 and 2? A lot of possibilities here, so let me know what you think this is. Is this a tease towards Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, or just them having some fun on the inside with a joke that none of us really get, and at the studio they would with this 12, less than 312. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a pretty good after Christmas sale that's going on at GameStop. This is currently running, and I feel like they've done this like every year, but this is a buy 2, get the 3rd free sale on all pre-owned games. It doesn't matter how new the pre-owned game is. If it has been traded in and is out on the shelf, you can pair it with 2 other games, and one of those 3 will be free. And if you take a look on their website now, they have quite a few of them, and you can go through and do this right on the website. So, like, you could get Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers, and Animal Crossing or Smash Brothers would be free because it's like the cheapest one's free. But you see what I mean? You can grab 3 $50 games and spend $100 rather than $150. And I mean, you can just kind of scroll through their page. They have things like Skyward Sword HD used. There's a copy of Metroid Dread that's already used, Mario Party, Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, the list goes on, but then you can go over to the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, and find newer titles. You get Far Cry 6. Maybe you're someone who likes the sports titles but waits for them to go on sale. You can grab like Madden, NBA, FIFA, and pair them all together. Ghost of Tsushima, Battlefield 2042 is already there used. Spider-Man, Guardians of the Galaxy. These are usually a good time to go out and shop if you got a brand new system, because you could obviously load up on a ton of titles that are relatively new and save a bunch of money. And I will tell you, generally, when this is being run in their stores, it's picked over pretty badly. There were a few times that I remember going when they were running this sale and like they were wiped out. A lot of people go out and shop after Christmas, the 26th, the 27th, because they got Christmas money, and you see that kind of a sale, and you just got a PS5 or something. Yeah, you're gonna look to pick up as much as you can with that money, but still, certainly worth checking on their website or maybe even at your local GameStop to take advantage of it. Now, it looks like it's gonna be wrapping up the last day of this month, so you have basically the rest of this week before we head into 2022. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're taking a little poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked if you got a new game system for the holidays, which one did you get? 33% said the PlayStation 5. That's, I think, expected. The PS5 is a new system, obviously, along with the Series X or the Xbox Series, but the PS5 is very, very sought after right now, so that would make sense there. The Switch, though, years into its life at 24% there. A retro system or a last-gen system, 22%. That's more than I thought it would be, and looking down some of the comments, people were excited. They got a Dreamcast, they got a PS2, they got a Game Boy, so yeah, it was a lot of fun to see that. Then the Xbox Series there at 21%. Overall, though, it seems like people online were getting some pretty cool gifts, new systems, old systems, so exciting stuff. I remember that feeling when I was younger and I'd get this brand new system, whether it was an original PlayStation, a Dreamcast, a GameCube, and it's like that magical feeling of this device you've seen in ads online or commercials and you finally have it. It's exciting stuff. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Red Guy says, the 3DS is going between $350 and $450 for used consoles. It's my favorite system of all time, and I'm glad I own 2 of them. That being said, they aren't going to be cheaper, so pick them up ASAP if you want one. Brand new 3DS consoles are going for $500 to $900 each as of yesterday. I guess it's not too surprising, although the 3DS sold a lot of systems. The problem is they broke a lot. I mean, seriously, I was working on 3DS systems constantly. When I'd be repairing at different stores, they'd come in busted hinges, busted charge ports, bottom screen, top screen. It was constant. So while there's like 75 million or so 3DS systems out there, I wouldn't be surprised if they just became rare over time because so many of them were destroyed throughout that generation. So it might be worth picking one up if you can get it at a good price. That game library is solid, but the game library will probably jump in price whenever Nintendo does shut down that part of the eShop because you know it's coming eventually. That and the Wii U will certainly see a big spike in overall value on those games when their eShops are shut down. So might even be worth looking around for some of the games as well. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike, leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Was the Nintendo Switch eShop struggles over Christmas weekend? Did you have your own problems with it? Let me know about that. And then also, what about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 potentially seeing a Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 expansion? Maybe it's its own release, and how possible is that with the state of Activision now? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.